Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I would like to welcome you back. Those of us who are joining from overseas and those of you who are joining here from Tel Aviv, here at Tel Aviv University. We have with us governors, elected governors, friends associations, university supporters, everyone who belongs to this room. Ladies and gentlemen, your active participation, and I'm talking now not only to the people in this hall, but globally, your active participation is always welcome and appreciated. And therefore, in the era of Zoom, you know that you need to use the chat function and remember to unmute yourself. That's the most important sentence that was developed during the past 2 years. Unmute yourself. The first item on today's agenda is committee reports and resolutions. And I will start from the steering committee report, and then we will invite various chairs of the committees to report to you. The screen will indicate the resolutions and the content and members of the committee. So the first item is the steering committee approves the nomination committee, and you can see their appointees here, I hope, and the date of the upcoming Board of Governors meeting, which will be set tentatively to May 11-16, 2022. Please take note of this date, May 11-16, 2022. We have a date here at Tel Aviv University. The chairperson of the Board of Governors is the committee chair. So Daphna Meitar Nechmad will be the next nominations committee chair, because by the end of this evening, hopefully, she will assume her new role. I would like now to call the various chairs to come or to use their microphones and let us hear the reports. So I'm going to join now my colleague, President Ariel Porat, while we are bringing here the various chairs. I invite Selina Goren-Komeran, the co-chair of the Campus and Development and Maintenance Committee, to give her report. Please, Selina.
Okay, תודה. Okay. Dear friends, it's great to hybridly meet you all. Last Sunday, we held our Zoom campus development and maintenance meeting. We discussed new and upcoming construction projects on campus, including the newly inaugurated Susan and Henry Samueli Engineering Building, the Roman Abramovich Building for Nanoscience and Nanotechnology, the Lockheed Graduate Center, and the Mitchell Building underground parking, which are currently under construction. We reviewed the master plan, especially as it relates to the new exciting developments regarding transportation, parking, and improving accessibility to campus through connections to mass transport and creation of new bicycle paths. Of course, we also discussed maintenance and repair, as well as sustainability advances in reducing the university's carbon footprint. We commended the university for including a provision in their contract setting aside funding for maintenance and repairs in new buildings. Our proposed resolution reflects all of the above, and we also request to receive biannual reports from the university on the progress of the above key issues. Finally, we thank Dame Shirley Porter for her decades of stewardship, dedication, and effective leadership at the committee's helm, and we welcome John Porter as committee co-chair, having no doubt he will make a tremendous contribution to the development and maintenance of our campus. Thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Selina. And I would like now to invite Tim Schlindewein, the co-chair of the Finance Committee, and who is now in the US. Please, Tim, can you provide the committee's report? Thank you.
Everyone from Chicago. I wish I was with you, but next year in Israel. The Finance Committee met via Zoom on July 27 and was called to order by our co-chair, Zvi Ziv. Our CFO, Neri Azogi, and our Vice Director General, Ehud Or, provided detailed analyses, overviews of academic outputs, financial statements, and budget analysis for the prior and current fiscal years. The challenge for the whole of our university has been the campus's rapid adaptation to remote work and learning. As we heard yesterday, we may be living with the virus, but we are moving beyond with our pursuits of further globalization, of broader multidisciplinary research and teaching, and of deeper ties with industry and the practical world. Your generosity supports our dreams, and the sound management of our financial resources underwrites their realities. I extend my appreciation to our finance team for their faithful stewardship and hard work. We have one order of business today from the Finance Committee, which is the resolutions that you see here. The Finance Committee notes the financial reports presented for the year ended September 30, 2020, and the 2020 to 21 budget framework. The Finance Committee calls upon the PBC to continue to update its financial models, as well as to increase resources for the recruitment of senior academic faculty and the development of university infrastructure, and to provide sufficient designated funds for budgetary pension payments. That is our report. Thank you, Chairman Frankel.
Thank you very much, Tim, and best regards to Chicago. I would now like to invite Neri Azogi, who is the Deputy Director of General Finance, to give the Funds and Trust Committee report. The floor is yours, Neri.
Thank you. Okay. The Fund and Trust Committee met on July 27. The meeting was co-chaired by Mr. Edwin Wolfson and Mr. David Granot, who also serves as chairman of the Investment Committee. We presented the investment portfolio, which amounted to 2.9 billion shekel. We discussed the investment policy and the current investment allocation. We presented the detailed portfolio structure and the different investment channels, also the duration and the currency indexes exposures, and finally the return. The annual return on September 2020, 1 year ago, which included the crisis months in the market, was 2.5%. Along with all the market, and thanks to the prudent management of the investment committee, the investment portfolio has also recovered, and today the return is around 11%. There was a discussion on the investment policy, on the risk policy, and also on the principle of the investment in private funds and non-marketable assets. It was a challenging year, and the committee will continue to work carefully to ensure a constant return for the achievement of the university goals. The proposed resolutions are as follows. The Fund and Trust Committee noted the investment policy for the period October 2019 to September 2020 and the October 20 to May 21. The Fund and Trust Committee recommends that the Executive Council, through the Investment Subcommittee, will continue to follow the current investment policy and update it as necessary from time to time. The Fund and Trust Committee would like to thank the members of the Investment Committee for their work and the good result they achieved in the investment portfolio, together with careful and ongoing examination of the risk in the investment portfolio. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Neri. We are almost concluding the committee reports. And the second, from the last, but certainly not the least, it is my pleasure to introduce and invite Linda Streit, the co-chair of the Student Affairs Committee, the dedicated student champion, to give her committee's report. Please.
Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to see you. Some of you were here when we dedicated today the Sir Leslie Porter Square, and it was a wonderful occasion, and I'm happy here now to have introduced the 5th generation of our family today who came and planted the tree. So that was very special. So I'm chairman of the best committee without any doubt, because it's our student committee, the lifeblood of this university, of this great university. And we had, as always, we have a very interesting presentation. And in particular, we were talking about the, yeah, I know I'm short, what can I do? Right, okay. We were talking about Mitchabrim Plus, which is the social impact program that the university has. This is where a student is involved with, on theory on the one hand, and on the other going into the field and working with practitioners, working with companies, working with NGOs. And what this is doing is making our students really learn about life. My grandson said to me, he's just about to go in the army, and he said to me, school didn't prepare me for life. And I think what the university is doing is preparing these students for life, so that we had wonderful presentations. There was about the Haredim, the ultra-Orthodox, and the more secular students, how they get together and they sit and they talk, and it's been their first opportunity to understand about each other. That was one program. Another one was to do with marine conservation, and each one who spoke, whether it was the mentor or the student, had great passion. And I would really advise everybody that they should think about helping these students out, because this is a wonderful program, and we're hoping, and as you see behind me with the resolutions, we are hoping to expand the number of courses. And I would like to thank Professor Tova Most, who I served with her for the last, I think it was 6 years as Dean of Students. And she did a wonderful job. And in her footsteps, we have Professor Dorit Neumann, and it will be a pleasure to work with you, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linda. Ex officio, the chairman of the board is also the chairman of the nominations committee. So I'm, in this capacity, reporting to you the report of the nominations committee. This past year has been a unique one. Of course, we have had still lockdowns, we had navigation challenges, the pandemic was the story of the day, and we will, of course, move forwards and have moved forwards. However, our committee decided that this is not the time to execute the end of terms of some of the board members whose terms have been completed now. And therefore, we have decided to extend their membership for another year automatically. So our forces will only be stronger. We have added yesterday new members to be ratified today. And therefore, I can tell you that all of you, those whose term officially was supposed to expire, nothing expires except for the virus. We are, as the nominations committee, we move on and we nominate the officers of Tel Aviv University. The screen is there. It includes the chairman, it includes the executive council chair, it includes the president of our university, it then includes onwards. We now have also new chairs of committees. And the next screen will show you who are our nominees for the next groups. So we have, of course, the list of we have the deputy chair, the vice chairman recommendations. No need to read it out. You can see it on the screen. And needless to say, everything that you see on the screen and everything that is implicit in other decisions will be mailed to you as we have done in the past, and you will have the time to reflect, to record, and to file. So in any event, we have now the list of the deputy chair and vice chair of the university as recommended. And we have, of course, the chairperson of the Board of Governors Committee. We have decided to do as I've indicated to you. The Academic Committee, Professor Francois Heilbronn from France, Professor Mark Steif, the rector from Israel. The list of the members of the committee and the chair is now screened in front of you. We have the Campus Development and Maintenance Committee, Mr. John Porter, Ms. Selina Goren, and we have the Finance Committee, Tim Schlindrin, with whom we spoke just now from Chicago, and Mr. Tzvi Ziv from Israel. Funds and Trust Committee, Edwin Wolfson from the UK and David Granot from Israel. The tradition that we have had throughout the years that committees are co-chaired, one from Israel and one from abroad. Our legal committee continues to be Jim Dubey from the United States, Professor Joseph Gross from Israel, and we have Shirin Herzog from Israel as the deputy chair. We will wish her good luck as she moves to Washington together with her husband to serve as Israeli ambassador to the United States. The Student Affairs Committee and the elections of governors, there is now a very long list in front of you, and we will leave it as such. Assume that you have seen all of this because it is in your mail and it will arrive very, very soon. I think this is the time to move forwards. The list is there. The Constitution says that you must see that before you vote on it. So I'm going to, in a tedious way, allow you to see all of that. We have our president who is a legal scholar, and he will ensure that we do everything right. And with this in mind, we now move to the next phase of, so call it, in between, and we will welcome both the president and myself questions to be, it is written here, Q&A. At this present time, I'm approaching you for the Q, and we will do it when it comes. Please, ladies and gentlemen, the Q comes from anywhere in the world and from this room. There is nothing like technology to screen and to maybe censor some of the cues. Don't do it so in such a dramatic, comprehensive way. Allow some cues to come through. I can see that everyone is so pleased with the complete clarity of everything, and the consensus is so absolute. We are almost in a totalitarian country, no questions. Wow, 100% support. All members of the committees that were nominated should feel extremely good, and I'm now moving to the next phase. But in order not to be told you shoved it through the board, any other question? Last opportunity. First, second, sold. We are now moving to a specific proposal, namely the ratification of committee reports. We need to formally ratify them, and this is the stage that few seconds of uncertainty, will they or won't they ratify? So I would like to see a show of hands in this room and internationally on the screen, anywhere else, those who support to ratify all of those recommendations? Please raise your hand so we can see that. Wow, unanimity. That's one day when our president told me the meaning of democracy, he told me it's the way in which one is elected, it is the way in which resolutions are confirmed or ratified, and it is the way in which transitions take place. Well, so this is the time that transitions are going to start, and we have now arrived to the point in time where the transition of chairmanship of this university, or chairpersonship of this university, or whatever way you call it, is going to start to move its way, slowly, towards Daphna Meitar Nechmad. And it is therefore my great pleasure and honor to invite President Ariel Porat to the podium, where he will proceed with the next phase. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacob. Well, I want to say a few words to you, Jacob. Well, to borrow the words of a poet, how do I thank thee, Jacob? Let me count the ways. You have been a pillar of support for the university. Your unprecedented international stature has raised the university's global reputation. You succeeded in bringing a succession of world-renowned figures and personalities to the campus, winning us not only government and media attention, but also new friends in the highest echelons of global politics, economics, and finance. You were the first Israeli chairman in decades to significantly boost the Israeli-French Association and deepen connections with our Israeli partners. You engendered a warm atmosphere of good spirit and kinsmanship during our Board of Governors meeting and many other events. You united and inspired our governors to work toward the university's mission to be a leading academic institution in the global arena and to constantly improve and adapt. And, speaking for myself, your wise counsel has always guided and helped me. Your charisma, your personal touch, your amazing engagement with the governors and friends, the high esteem with which you are held by leaders in Israel and around the world, all these have contributed meaningfully to Tel Aviv University's prominent position today. Jacob, you may be leaving the position, but you are not leaving us. We are appointing you Chairman Emeritus and hope to benefit from your experience, insight, and commitment for many more years to come. And now, we have prepared a little clip with highlights of your tenure. Well, action.
Our contribution to society then is to jumpstart success by unlocking the boundless potential in the next generation, by liberating the exceptional creative spirit in each and every one. We at Tel Aviv University believe in the future and aspire to shape it. Thank you all for embracing this optimism. our global Tel Aviv University community can feel great pride and satisfaction on the achievements of this amazing institution. We are all partners in these big ideas, this big dream, this big miracle called Israel.
Well, quite a guy. There is a certificate here for you, Jacob. So maybe you would join me. Opa. This is to witness that on the 14th day of October 2021, Tel Aviv University honored Professor Jacob A. Frankel, outgoing chairman of the Board of Governors, in profound appreciation of his 9 years of dedicated service to the university as chairman of the board, which has flourished under his stewardship. His valued endeavors to elevate the university's reputation internationally and increase its circle of prestigious friends and supporters. His insightful leadership and guidance, coupled with his unique humor and charm, which he drew on to masterfully unite governors from diverse countries and backgrounds, his deep bond with Tel Aviv University and commitment to its development, and his remarkable contribution to the state of Israel.
Thank you.
Give you a hug?
ודאי, מותר לנו. תודה. אני יושב?
נדמה לי שכן. אוקיי, I think we should go, לרדת לדעתי.
אני חושב שאני צריך לתת איזושהי דבר.
אוקיי.
Who is the chair? I left for 1 minute and we don't know what to do. Wow. Thank you so much, Ariel, for this moving presentation and your very kind words. Yesterday evening, we spoke about kind of a chairman report. What I'd like to do today, after this moving presentation, is really to take you to a little journey through my personal relations with this great institution. In 1948, when the State of Israel was born, I was 5 years old and lived on a little unpaved street in Tel Aviv that lay in the sands. The population of the city was just over 200,000 at that time. Fast forward to the mid-60s, when I studied economics right here on the campus's first building, in fact, the iconic red brick one known as Trubovich building. That's the one where you, Mr. President, built your legal career at the beginning. In fact, it was the only building on this hill here in Ramat Aviv, and at the time, it served as the Tel Aviv branch of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. After graduation, I was sent by the leadership of the economics group at the university to the United States, to the University of Chicago, to study for my PhD. My two mentors and colleagues at the time were Professor Chaim Ben Shachar Chabash and the late Eitan Berglas, who would continue to play a central role in my professional career here at the university for years to come. Later still, in the early 1970s, I received my first ever faculty position here in the Department of Economics in what is today the Eitan Berglas School. During the subsequent 15 years, when I returned to the University of Chicago, I kept in close contact with my colleagues and friends here in Tel Aviv University, and frequently came back on sabbatical or as a visiting professor. When in 1991, I was appointed governor of the Bank of Israel and moved back, I also returned to the university as the Weisfeld Professor of International Economics and Peace. In due time, my own two daughters studied at Tel Aviv University. They are here today in this hall with us. Dr. Orly Frankel, who earned her MD here, and Dr. Tali Frankel, who earned her PhD in clinical psychology. Yes, I'm a proud father, and especially so that they attended Tel Aviv University. But I think you might have noticed a pattern by now. My life and that of my family has been inextricably linked with this great university. Still, it came as a big surprise and even bigger honor when in 2012 I was asked by university leaders to assume the position of chairman of the board. How could I not accept? In many ways, this institution has defined who I am. It is part of my and my family's DNA. I've also witnessed and been somewhat personally involved in the transformation of Tel Aviv University from a small fledgling college into a global hub of groundbreaking research and teaching. Our university today is a powerhouse for humanities and cultural knowledge, an incubator for scientific and technological creativity, a bastion of openness, pluralism, and diversity, and an international beacon for exceptional people from all over the world, from all backgrounds, to realize their potential and create a thriving and fair society. My affiliation with all this excellence and with you, dear governors, friends, and supporters, fills me with pride, energy, and the feeling that we have all been doing something deeply meaningful to this very day. During my years as chairman of the board, I came to appreciate even more the noble work that is being done here by scholars and scientists, the teachers, and the administrative staff. I was inspired by the tireless efforts of the university's top management, led by our president, Ariel Porat, and previously with the former president, Professor Yossi Klafter, to advance knowledge, generations of students, and Israel's national aspiration. I felt admiration, esteem, and great respect for our Global Friends Association and their presidents, who are creative and entrepreneurial when it comes to finding ways to promote Tel Aviv University in their home countries. I felt privileged to introduce many international political and economic leaders to the university, to personally bring them here and connect them to the campus and to Israel. And over the years, I felt similarly honored and grateful to facilitate the involvement of new donors to our great university, such as Tau Honorary Dr. Mort Zuckerman, and Tau Governors Eric Gertler and Jamie Gertler. I especially came to feel the warmest affection for you, my fellow governors, and TAU supporters through many local and international board meetings, galas, inaugurations, and more intimate gatherings and tete-a-tetes. We have bonded over common interests and the recognition of our mutual responsibility to strengthen the university for the benefits of Israel, of Am Israel, and the world. So what began with my childhood and studies came a full fruition as a professor, office holder, and enthusiastic advocate of Tel Aviv University. I have come a full circle. But the beauty of a circle is that it has no beginning and no end. One indirect result of the coronavirus pandemic is that I moved back permanently to Israel, and I'm loving every moment of it. So as Chairman Emeritus, thank you, Mr. President, for bestowing this status on me. You will see me, and I will continue to treasure my affiliation with you, dear governors, and of course, with the university. I want to take this opportunity to extend deeply felt thanks to my many colleagues throughout this last decade, beginning with my predecessor as chairman and dear friend, the late Harvey Kruger, and continuing with the current and former chairman of the Executive Council, Eli Gelman and Dr. Giora Yaron, and the current and former presidents, Professor Ariel Porat and Yossi Klafter, and the vice president for resource development, Amos Elad, and his highly effective team that is so vibrant, so friendly, so effective, and so cherished. I'd like to single out for gratitude my right hand. Don't be shy, Lorna Simet, whose loyalty, kind patience, and amazing efficiency has helped me to do my job to this very end. I've never seen you blushed, but it's good. In conclusion, I want to wish the best of luck to Daphna Meitar Nechmad in her new role. Daphna, you are being entrusted with a precious honor and responsibility. I'm confident that under your leadership, the Board of Governors will continue to make a far-reaching contribution to academia, to Israeli society, to the Jewish people, and to the world. And I wish you with all my heart the greatest success. Thank you very much, my friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, please sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, we are please turn off your phone and don't rise up during the broadcast. Thank you and enjoy.
Thank you, Alma Sonnenstein, for your beautiful performance of Bach's Partita in A minor. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to hand over the baton of chairmanship of the Board of Governors from Jacob to Daphna. Before we do so, I'd like to tell you a little about the process of selecting a new chairperson. Under the University Constitution, the chairperson of the Board of Governors cannot serve more than 2 terms. And Jacob's term has now come to an end. Several months ago, we established a search committee with the mandate of identifying and recruiting the next board chairperson. Professor Itamar Rabinovich, our former president, was appointed committee chair, and he was joined by Clement Ehrman, Shirin Herzog, Professor Einat Weiser, and Professor Michal Feldman. Together, the committee members conducted a thorough search process. They solicited recommendations from all of our friends around the world. They re-interviewed the Tau leadership for their insights on the role of the chairperson and the requisite qualities that they should possess. The search committee considered and explored the candidacy of several suitable nominees, one of whom was Daphna Meitar Nechmad. After a long and detailed interview with Daphna, the committee was very impressed by several of her qualities, and I quote, her immersion and standing in the philanthropic world, her inspiring and active fundraising experience, hence her strong commitment and dedication to the university, and her subtle style of leadership. On the basis of the interview and her track record as co-chair of our global campaign, the search committee found Daphna to be highly suitable for the role. They unanimously proposed her appointment as the next board chairwoman to the nominations committee. This was followed by electronic ballot among the Board of Governors, which again unanimously supported the appointment. And now, for the sake of future generations, I would now ask everyone to raise your hands if you support the nomination of Daphna Meitar Nechmad as the next chairwoman of the Board of Governors. Please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone here and abroad, of course. And now I'm thrilled and delighted to declare the official appointment of Daphna Meitar Nechmad as the next chairwoman of Tel Aviv University's Board of Governors. In fact, our first chairwoman. First. And now, I'd like to invite Daphna and Mika Almog, who is an Israeli writer and columnist, to come to the stage so that we can hear a little about who Daphna is and her vision as a chairwoman. Mika and Daphna, please.
Good evening. Daphna Meitar Nechmad has had a long-time presence on the philanthropic scene, ranging from academic excellence to arts and culture, scholarships and mentoring for the Ethiopian community, and developing local Israeli philanthropy. Daphna decided to fully devote her time and energy to the nonprofit sector 17 years ago, following a flourishing law career as a corporate lawyer and partner at the Meitar Law Offices, with expertise in commercial, corporate, and telecommunications law. She co-founded the Tzvi and Ofra Meitar Family Fund, initiated the Institute for Law and Philanthropy, and holds leadership roles at the Tzvi Meitar Center for Advanced Legal Studies, both of them at the Tel Aviv University Law Faculty. Just yesterday, Daphna completed her term as co-chair of TAU's first ever global campaign. Among her many philanthropic roles over the years, Daphna has served as chairperson of the Israeli Opera Friends Association, has been a board member of the Jewish Funders Network, where she opened doors to more Israelis and American philanthropic collaborations, and most recently contributed to establishing Keshet, the first ever Israeli donor-advised fund. As a member of Committed to Give, an initiative of key Israeli philanthropists, she encourages and supports giving by high-net individuals on their journey to becoming active social investors. Daphna's philanthropic accomplishments reach beyond the borders of Israel. She is the first and only Israeli to be on the Metropolitan Opera's managing directors and advisory committees, and is a member of the International Directors Council of the Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum in New York, to name just two. As a philanthropist and a woman, Daphna is deeply concerned with gender inequality, and so following the COVID-19 crisis, she initiated an international women's philanthropy leadership group with the goal of adding a gender lens to their own practice, as well as encouraging other philanthropists and foundations to do the same. Daphne lives in Tel Aviv, is married to Emil, and has 3 daughters and 1 grandson. In conclusion, as you can see, despite the fact that her last name in Hebrew means nice, she's kicked some serious ass. Congratulations, Daphne.
Thank you.
So in preparation for our conversation, I have had the privilege and the pleasure of talking to you for several hours, which is why I find it rather unfortunate that tonight we only have about 20 minutes. On the other hand, we do live in the age of short attention spans, so I figure 20 minutes should be enough time to discuss philanthropy, Tel Aviv University, gender, and the Board of Governors. Are you game?
We have 20 minutes, but I have 4 years. So we can talk 20 minutes and work 4 years.
Fantastic. I'm honored to be part of the first 20 minutes. This is also a useful tool for you in the audience, because we're going to do about 5 minutes per topic. So 3 minutes in, if we're boring you, you can just text for 2 minutes, pop your head back up. We're on to the next topic. Okay? We're going to be very, very efficient. Okay. So just before we dive in, I do want to ask you one more question that I'm going to pose to you now, and ask that you answer it at the end of our conversation. What do we not know about you?
I was raised not to disclose my secrets. But for Tao, maybe I can make an exception. It will not be the first time.
Oh, certainly it will not. Okay. This is also a great opportunity to see Daphne multitask, because she's going to be answering all of my questions while considering all of her secrets while we're having this conversation. So let's start. Can you tell us about your connection to Tel Aviv University?
First time I entered the campus, I was 20 years old, just out of the IDF. So Tel Aviv University has been my home, second home, for many years. I'm a proud alum. I have 3 degrees, academic degrees from the university. And my relationship with the university deepened through my philanthropic work in the philanthropic involvement of my family. First, at the Tzvi Meitar Center for Advanced Legal Studies, which I'm proud to say is an excellent example for investment that is very profitable in its results, and is even copied in other universities, including Yale. Then founded the Institute for Law and Philanthropy, again at the law faculty of the university. And as you know, co-chairing the campaign. And now I'm ready for the next challenge.
Which was rather successful, I might add.
$805 million. The team, everybody around the world, very proud.
Yeah,
But it's
indeed.
always a teamwork.
Give it up. And there's one more significant thing that happened to you at the university on a personal level.
Oh my God. I met my husband, Amir. How could I?
There you go. So they're also responsible for what, 40 years?
Well, I think we might be qualified to go into the Steinert Museum, because we are quite a few years together. Museum for Natural History, to those who don't know.
Gotta love campus romance. So clearly you're entwined with TAU from every possible direction, and I do want to get back to specifically to the Institute for Law and Philanthropy in our upcoming discussion of philanthropy. But when we talked, you told me that you find that Tel Aviv University is not just a hub for higher education, that you feel it has a social role. Can you elaborate on that?
With pleasure. Did you know that 250,000 hours of skilled volunteering by students just in the last 6 years to 60,000 people in Israel through 300 amutot, non-profits, and all of this is part of Tau Impact, the same Mitchabrim Plus that Linda Streit mentioned earlier. And this is the effect on the Israeli society through such a number of hours that makes the students better people, that makes them more connected to the society. And I think that the combination is that I want to give you an example. Last week at the student committee of the board, I had the pleasure of listening to some of the student and faculty members who are involved in Tau Impact. And they give us their own evidence with sparkling eyes, telling us about their involvement in society. The most moving story that I want to share with you tonight, is about the one of Chaya Ben Yehuda. She's an MA engineering student who told us about a group of students for engineering that met with elderly people from that living at home, at a safe home. And during the COVID, they could not enjoy the weekly bridge game because of the restrictions. So these two groups of youngsters and elderly people met together, and they talked and thought together how to overcome this maybe small but significant problem. And they built some construction that 4 people can sit together without breaching the social restrictions of COVID. And these students found themselves playing bridge with elderly people. I think this is a good example of how students can connect, can enjoy, can understand better why they chose the field of studies they did. It's not theory, it's hands-on, and real people meet real people. So this is a social
one of the fascinating things that you said to me when we were talking was that you also find that this experience of compassion not only makes them better people, it also makes them better professionals, which I thought was very insightful. Because if you are an economist, right, that's one of the examples that you gave me. If you're an economist and you've never met anyone who's dealing with poverty and has to balance a difficult budget, how are you going to have a profound understanding of that?
Yes, I think it will be professionalism with Menschkeit. But everybody knows, in addition, that universities in Israel are melting pots, or, as you told me, the melting pot is now a salad bowl. Like each can be his own fruit, his own vegetable, but still together in the same plate. But it's also obviously a ladder to social mobility. Mm-hmm. So I'm proud to be part of it.
Terrific. So compassion as a tool with multiple purposes. That's fantastic. And one that needs to be very thoughtfully taught, which actually is a terrific segue to our next 5 minutes on philanthropy, past, present, and future. So the traditional perception of a philanthropist is someone who writes a fat check and then gets their name put on a building, right? But philanthropy has actually evolved a great deal over the past few years. Can you tell us what your vision, your understanding of modern-day philanthropy is?
Modern-day philanthropy is social investment. You know, writing the check is the easiest part of it. Mm-hmm. If you really want to make a difference, you must become a partner to the people who are running the NGO, who are on ground, meeting the people that, so you should be supportive of them. But when we come, and I know many other philanthropists in Israel, when we come, we don't just bring the money. We want to bring our experience, our knowledge, our perspective, and the the results that we want to see are not necessarily our name or honor, but to see real results, real results of the money we invested. You know, so our profit is not monetary, but it's social profit.
And this is also about long-term relationships, right? This is also the involvement that goes beyond the check, is also one that leads to long-term relationships, to other generations coming in, to people bringing in their friends.
I think that Tel Aviv is a wonderful example of what you just said. The Porter family that we inaugurated the circle this afternoon, 5 generations of people in the same organization. That's amazing. I wish there would be more and more Porter families.
Daphne, how did your own journey in philanthropy begin?
When my father, Tzvi Meitar, late Tzvi Meitar, was a young lawyer, he approached his boss and he'd asked him for a loan to buy a scooter in order to commute to work. His boss thought about it and told him that he won't give him the loan, but he will give him the money to buy the scooter because he told him, you know, I trust that you'll succeed, and one day you would help others that could that need your help.
It's a very insightful boss right there.
So, fast forward, 17 years ago, I was approached by my father, and he asked me to run the Tzvi and Ofra Meitar Family Fund that he decided to start. Our first partner, or our first organization that we were involved in, was the Israeli Opera. I think that the Israeli Opera was the best school for philanthropy I could ever ask for. Hannah Munitz, the director of, at the time, became my mentor. And through this experience there, I learned about the relationship between donors and organization, what it means to be on a board of a nonprofit, the social involvement, the social responsibility, and really almost every angle. And I'm proud to say that we are still supporting the Israeli Opera. And, you know, philanthropy is like gardening. When you water, flowers grow. When you provide support, things happen. And this is the beauty of it. And this is why I decided to stop practicing law and enjoy myself in the philanthropy world.
You told me that every time you support someone, you consider their unborn children.
Yes, totally.
So I think
that's my nachat.
Indeed.
Nachas.
So pay it forward is the guiding principle, starting from your father's experience with his one-time boss to this very day. And then one of the things that you discovered later on in your journey is that the infrastructure for philanthropy in Israel needs some upgrading, and you decided to do something about it. So can you tell us about the Institute for Law and Philanthropy?
There are many people that are part of my story. One of them is my friend Edna Fast, who is also here with us tonight. What sparkled the idea of forming the Institute was a random meeting of the two of us complaining about barriers of giving, why people can't give, and why it's so difficult, and why this and why that. You know, two Jewish Israeli women complain. But we didn't stop that there. And Edna told me, you know, you have connections at the law faculty at Tel Aviv University. Maybe we will do something about that. I could not believe it. It was for me like my grandson says, eureka moment. Combination of both sides of my life, law and philanthropy. So, you know, it wasn't easy. philanthropic work is not so easy. People think, well, as I said, writing a check. No, it's not. But thanks to people like Professor Ron Harris, who was, I don't know if he had a choice, but because of our family involvement, but he opened the door to us. And 7 years later, the Institute for Law and Philanthropy is a major player in the philanthropic field in Israel, and I'm very proud about it. It has the valuable academic research and became a meeting point of many players from the government, from the private sector, private foundation, public foundation, the national security, the general trustee, all of them, together with groups like JFN and Committee to Give, all created a vibrant philanthropic system. And I'm very proud to be part of it. And the bonus is that every dollar we donated in the Institute already is many more dollars because we enabled more people to give, and I cannot imagine how many more dollars will come in the future.
Because the investment is in infrastructure. The investment is in enabling the other investments.
Exactly.
Okay. We have a few other infrastructures that need upgrading in Israel, you know, our roads and our democracy, so, you know, just if you have some free time. Okay. So social education is critical for the future of local philanthropy, teaching people how to give and why they should give and getting them involved very early on in the process. But so is educating towards collaboration, right? One of the things that you found in the Institute for Law and Philanthropy was that you needed to teach people and enable people to share their knowledge, to share their expertise and experience.
You know, philanthropy and collaboration are two sides of the equation. Even Bill Gates and Warren Buffett form partnerships. Nobody can make a change on its own. And, you know, the collaboration of the Israeli philanthropic players that I mentioned earlier was demonstrated when the COVID-19 crisis started. We were ready to go down to business, to meet, to think together, to collaborate. And it was a real performance. I was really pleased. I wasn't pleased by the crisis, but I thought, wow, something had happened, and I'm really happy to be part of that.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question that's related both to community and philanthropy. There's a common perception that Israelis don't give, or that they don't give as much as they could. Do you think that's true? If so, why, and what can we do about it?
5 minutes?
Exactly.
Okay, let's start with the good news. In Tel Aviv University, Israelis are second on the list after the United States. Yeah? I think so too. And the numbers are growing steadily each year. Having said that, I believe that it's true. Israelis don't give as much as they could. For instance, Tel Aviv University is rated 8th in the world when it comes to the earnings, the capital earnings of its graduates, which is amazing for Tel Aviv University. But I'm frustrated. How come we don't see it yet? I say yet because, you know, social transformation takes more than financial transformation. So all in all, I'm optimistic. I hope that our vibrant alumni organization, led by Sigalit Bar-Chayun, will eventually, together with us at the campaign and in the Board of Governors, you know, hopefully when I resigned, I could give you some more good news.
And this also is combined with Tau Impact, which is also, so the Tau Impact, while they're still at the university, is also, I think, a way of leading them into involvement as right, as alumni, eventually.
Yes.
And where does World Jewry fit into this? Where do donations from around the world?
So last Thursday, I woke up at 3 a.m. to participate at the AFTAU, American Friends of Tel Aviv, annual gala. It was 3 a.m. Tel Aviv, 4 p.m. New York, and 8 p.m. California. California, many movie stars, Hollywood. It was a great evening. But the best news to me as co-chair until yesterday was that this gala raised $2 million. I think this is wow. And I want to thank Dr. Kathy Fields and Dr. Gary Ryan to chair this gala. And this is a wonderful example of the loyal friends we have in the United States and around the world. This is, I want to thank Clement Erban and I want to, the chairman of AFTAU, I want to, and also Jennifer Gross, the president, of their tireless work that helped bring this success story. So this is a relationship, and as any relationship, you cannot take it for granted. You need to cultivate it. You need to find new people. But I think that fortunately, maybe generally you know all kinds of stories. I mean, not stories. We all read about complication between Israel and World Jewry. But with regards to Tau, I think we're in a good place and we can always improve.
So we're just about to approach our 5 minutes on gender, but before that, let me ask you, I understood that you told me that most of the supporters for the Institute of Law and Philanthropy are women.
I'm proud that I have good friends. When I tell them, listen, I have a good idea, they tell me, okay, we're coming with you. So it's not it wasn't only Edna Fast, it was also Irit Rappaport and Marsha Reklis and others. And so these are strong women with really excellent track record in philanthropy. They are putting the money where the mouth is. And I'm lucky to have them by my side.
So up until now, the chairperson of the board has always been a boy. And now, for the first time ever, it's going to be a girl. Yeah. Yay. So I'm actually not going to ask you why there hasn't been a chairwoman before, because I think the answer to that is probably having to do with the very frustrating answers to why there aren't more women who are members at law firms and leading major conglomerates and winning Academy Awards for directing. But I will ask you, of course this needs to change, and it will. But I do want to ask you in this specific context, excuse me, what significance do you think gender has in philanthropy?
Gender and philanthropy. So I think there are three issues here. One, feminism. The second one is female philanthropy. And the third is gender-lens philanthropy. And I'll try to explain a little. But I'll start with my mother. When I was young, my mother, Ofra Meitar, who sits proudly in the hall, gave me an advice. She told me, earn a profession and keep your independence. I think this is feminism. Now, my three beloved daughters keep reminding me this daily, on a daily basis. You know, I'm embarrassed to say that until the COVID-19 crisis, I didn't put one and one together. I didn't understand what that means that I'm a philanthropist and I'm a woman. Yes, I'm a woman. Yes, I'm feminist. Yes, I'm a philanthropist. But the COVID-19 literally showed all of us the vulnerability of women compared to men. In any aspect, women got hit harder. So it made me think, and it made me research. You know, it's in the US, every year, more than $400 billion are raised for philanthropic causes. Mika, tell me please, what is the percentage you think arrives to women causes from these $400 billion?
6.
1.6%. That's it. So yes, if you donate to to medical issues, there are women. Education, there are women. But again, some issues are not treated. And this is really appalled me and made me try to change this as much as I can in my circle, in JFN, in the leadership that you, group that you mentioned. And
So I'm getting some signals. So
okay. Yeah.
so let me just say, another one of the things you said is that you've decided to put a gender lens on your philanthropy and the philanthropy of others, and at the Board of Governors itself. And I think you know that there are many wonderful women on the board, but obviously you hope to see more, as do we all. And let's talk about the Board of Governors and what it means to you, how you see your role in it, and what significance the board has for you.
To me, the Board of Governors is first and foremost a group of wonderful, generous people, a community, our community. This community has been a pillar of the university since its inception. And for the last 8 years, we were led successfully by our distinguished outgoing chairman, Professor Jacob Frankel. And now it is my turn to hold the baton and lead this community even further with your help. So I'm warning you, I'm going to connect you and ask you questions and ask you feedback, and I would like to hear what you have to say, for better and for worse, because I want to make sure that you bring your friends, you bring your children, you bring your grandchildren to join us, that will continue the successful relationship between Tau and its Board of Governors and its supporters. And I mentioned alumni before, I mentioned successful alumni before. I hope that many of the new younger generation will join. The many Israelis alumni that already donate to the Tel Aviv University, like Boaz Dotan and Gil Shveid, Amnon Yeshua, Yehudi Yovel Rekanati, Feldman, just to name a few. And I think that our role as the Board of Governors is to support the goals of the Tel Aviv University, to follow our president, Ariel Porat, dreams, and to try to help him implement those dreams. And, you know, this is our chance to help Tel Aviv University to continue to excel and flourish.
Amen. We do have one final promise that we made at the beginning of this interview. So here it comes. What do we still not know about you now that we've learned a good deal? Tell us your secret.
My secret is I wasn't accepted to law school when I, You know what an embarrassment? My grades were not just good enough. Can you imagine the daughter of Tzvi Meitar, the head of the Tel Aviv bar, didn't make it? So, not getting an academic degree in my family was not an option. So, I went to Plan B, studied political science. And in political science, I didn't know then what I know now, that what the ideas I was exposed to, the things I learned over there, I believe made me who I am today and helped me understand the importance of social involvement. Don't worry, my grades in this political science were good enough for me to move to the law school and live up to my family of lawyers'
Well, I can
expectations.
I can tell you that my dad, my entire life has blessed me with the blessing, שיתגשמו משאלות ליבך לטובה. Okay? May your wishes come true for the best. And because sometimes what seems like a side turn is actually the main road and takes us to where we need to go. And I think you are indeed where you need to be. And I am so glad to have gotten to know you, and I think that you have a profound understanding of what it means to give, that you view giving and receiving as identical, as two halves of a whole, and I want to say to you, thank you very much, and בהצלחה.
Thank you, Mika, and thank you everyone for supporting my nomination.
Finally, on behalf of Tel Aviv University, heartfelt thanks to the members of the Board of Governors who are here in person and those of you who have joined us from around the world. With your ongoing partnership, Tel Aviv University will surely continue to be one of the world's leading universities, and we look forward to seeing you in Israel for the next board. For those of you who are here in the flesh, please join us upstairs for celebrating and the wonderful music of the marvelous Marina Maximilian. If you are abroad, please pour yourself a drink. You earned it.